Before we continue with this clip, this video has been brought to you by GoFiber. These are hair building fibers you can use to mask any thinning or patchy areas on your scalp to make your hair look thicker and better. So make sure you check out the link in the video description below where you can visit GoFiber, get a free sample of your choice and try them out. See if you like them.
So Matt, with hair restoration, it is such a labour of love and combination of medical therapy and surgery. But I'm so curious in terms of your story. Was there a certain order, the way you did it, and how you went about it? Did you place emphasis on one more than the other, or was it equal for you?
I started losing my hair when I was 17, and it kept going until 24 without any treatment. Without any treatment.
Okay.
So I went from like Norwood 1.5, already noticing it as a Norwood 2, but still didn't care much about it. I was like, trying to make myself feel good by looking at other friends that maybe were in a slightly similar situation. They're losing hair too, so okay, what's the big deal? They're not doing anything about it. So I was like balding more, but then it went faster than my friends, and then I started to be like, okay, I'm already like Norwood 3.5, and by that time I started, treating it with minoxidil. With finasteride, I didn't know anything about. And minoxidil was like something you can buy, so I started using it. I didn't respond really well. I used it only in the front, once a day, applied, didn't do much. So I started researching hair transplants, and I was like 24 at that time. So I decided to actually, without a lot of research, really, it was maybe 1 month researching simply clinics in, I used to live in Vienna, so it was Austria and then Turkey. I was considering like 2 countries. Austria was kind of expensive and they didn't do like big sessions, and I needed like 3,000 grafts already back then as a Norwood 3.5. So I went to Turkey and got a Turkish job, which was average at best. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been 2 years since my hair transplant procedure. Once the hair was longer, there was some unnaturalness from the hairlines as we see, in Turkey, but it was kind of, thick and full, and I started seeing myself in a totally different light. I was super confident, everything it was a good period, which gave me a lot of boost. But of course, over time, I started noticing some issues. And once I started visiting new doctors, better doctors, they're like, Matt, okay, these doubles, I don't like this. I could fix this for you, I got it fixed over time. And then, of course, now it's looking better because of that. But what happened in the meantime was too that my first hair transplant was actually without finasteride. So I didn't take finasteride, and I stopped using minoxidil because it wasn't helping.
Yeah.
So and finasteride was still already, I was aware of it, but I was afraid of side effects. I was worried. It was 24, 25. I was like, I consider it maybe later if I lose a lot after the hair transplant. I was in that type of situation. And then I actually lost it, lost visibly after the first one. And then I had this little mid-scalp section that was thinner, and I was using fibers. That was like, okay, after a while, it was already too much, and I needed another surgery. So I got the second one. It was just a smaller 900 graft session, which helped. And of course, when I was getting the second one, I was already on finasteride, and that's pretty much where I am today. But the good thing is that over the last 4 years, I didn't need any transplant. The hair is stable, and this is mainly thanks to finasteride.
So how long ago compared to now was your first one?
It was 7 years ago.
Okay, and
7.
I have a question. It's probably you probably can't even tell, but have you noticed in any way has the transplant changed in the last 7 years? It's a hard question to ascertain an answer to, because obviously we have native and other hair there, but I'd be curious because you did all yours by the FUE technique.
Yeah. I can tell you one thing that is like my personal experience, that the hair from my first hair transplant, because it kind of constitutes the majority of the front as it is today, it definitely looked the thickest by the 10-month mark, 12 months. And it was also darker, which is a thing that happens especially by guys with lighter hair that I discussed in other videos on the channel. And then the hair assimilates and goes through another new cycle, and then it lightens or it becomes the normal hair like the rest. And not only was the hair darker first, it was also thicker. And then after 2 years, the hair started looking more normal. So that was the biggest change of my transplanted hair. And then the other change, which is something that maybe is an issue or was, is whenever I took time off of finasteride, or I went on topical finasteride for more than a year, which I did last year, I felt like the front, like the transplanted front, is not looking as thick.
Yeah.
But this is just observation. I'm not sure 100%, but I had the feeling that it was happening.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I can tell you that it's something that people with hair transplants, who are like 20 years since their first one, they noticed it too whenever they stopped finasteride because they got side effects. And then they felt that even the transplanted hair will suffer some degree of, loss of thinning, loss of thickness. It will not fall out, don't worry, but there might be, if you are more susceptible, if the genetics are not in your favor, it will not look that full as the first year after. And if you can see it on taxi drivers in Turkey who had the front.
The band.
Yeah, the band.
The front is, and I think this is a kind of, so it's something that people don't realize is the transplant is not immune to miniaturization, and the donor, which is, of course, the transplant utilizes the donor hair. That donor continues to age and miniaturize. And when we take things like finasteride and we reduce that serum DHT, the impact of dihydrotestosterone is lessened.